We welcome you, dear viewers, on Noursat TV in Tel Lumiere. We begin our bulletin with the headlines. Pope Leo XIV let us ask the Virgin Mary to help us become joyful workers in the kingdom of God. After its success in the Vatican, the Dawn of Christianity exhibition opens in the Italian city of Assisi. Priests of Taibe, settlers are tampering with the town's historical and religious heritage. Pope Leo XIV recited the Angel's Prayer with the faithful and pilgrims gathered in St. Peter's Square. Before the prayer, the Holy Father delivered a message in which he said, "Remember that God created each of you with a purpose and a mission in this life. Seize this opportunity to listen. Through sincere listening, you can open yourselves to allow God's grace to strengthen your faith in Jesus, making you more ready to share this precious gift with others." Often we lose the ability to truly listen. Also remember that the voice of God is calling you deep within your hearts. Pope Leo XIV concluded his address by saying, "Let us ask the Virgin Mary, who generously said, 'Here I am,' and took part in the work of salvation, to intercede for us and accompany us on our journey of following the Lord, so that we may become joyful workers in the kingdom of God." In another news, Pope Leo XIV issued a decree appointing His Beatitude Cardinal Pier Battista Pizzaballa, Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, as a member of the Vatican Dicastery of Interreligious Dialogue. This appointment comes in recognition of his role in serving the Church and his contributions to fostering interreligious dialogue and mutual understanding. Previously, the Pope had also appointed Cardinal Pizzaballa as a member of the Dicastery for Institutes of Consecrated Life and Societies of Apostolic Life. During a meeting at the Petra Development and Tourism Religious Authority, the chairman of the Board of Commissioners, Dr. Faris El-Brezat, discussed with the Vatican Ambassador to Jordan, Archbishop Giovanni Pietro Del Tazo, ways to enhance cooperation in the field of religious tourism and promote Petra as a Christian pilgrimage destination. Dr. El-Brezat emphasized that this cooperation aligns with Jordan's efforts to strengthen its position on the global map of religious tourism through Petra. The two sides discussed the possibility of including the archaeological city within the official Christian pilgrimage routes, especially in light of the current global momentum around the religious travel. Archbishop Giovanni expressed great interest in enhancing cooperation, praising Jordan's stability and its historical and religious significance, especially sites associated with Christian pilgrimage. Both parties agreed to continue coordinating and working on joint promotional strategies through church institutions to solidify Petra's status as a key station on Christian pilgrimage routes and to support Jordan's role as a religious hub for spiritual and religious tourism. His Eminence, Bishop Christophorus, Greek Orthodox Metropolitan of Jordan, presided over the Divine Liturgy at the Cathedral of the Presentation of the Lord into the Temple in Sofia. In his homily, His Eminence prayed, "Lord, teach us to be humble so that we may learn to love you, to examine ourselves, care for the salvation of our souls, and refrain from judging others, but rather to cover their faults." He was assisted by several priests and deacons with the presence of a congregation from the local parish. Later, in the same cathedral, Bishop Christophorus also presided over the funeral service for the departed in memory of the martyrs of St. Elias Church in Damascus, in the presence of the clergy, officials, and faithful. After the service, he delivered a message of condolences on behalf of His Beatitude Patriarch Theophilus III to the Church of Antioch and Patriarch John X, expressing deep sorrow over the tragic incident. Prayers were raised during the Divine Liturgy for the souls of the martyrs and the recovery of the wounded, wishing them peace and well-being always. The priests of the churches in the town of Taibe, including Latin, Melkite Greek Catholic, and Greek Orthodox clergy, issued an urgent appeal to the world regarding the ongoing Israeli settler attacks targeting the town's lands, sacred sites, and properties. In a statement, the priests, on behalf of themselves, the people of Taibe, and their parishes, expressed strong condemnation on these attacks, which they said threaten the security and the stability of their town, violate the dignity of its Christian residents, and endanger the historic and religious heritage. Most recently, settlers deliberately set fires near the town cemetery and the historic church of St. George al-Khadr, which dates back to the 5th century AD and is considered one of the oldest religious landmarks in Palestine. The priests explained that this incident is part of the pattern of daily violations that the people of Taibe have become all too familiar with. Settlers continue to burn farmlands and graze livestock inside private fields, including those near residential areas now under the threat due to the expansion of illegal settlement outposts. Taibe, referred to as Ephraim in the Bible, is the town to which Jesus retreated before his passion and crucifixion. Today, it remains a majority Christian town in the West Bank, with a Christian presence rooted for over 2 millennia, carefully preserved through the generations. Following its success at the Vatican last February and March, the exhibition Jordan Dawn of Christianity was inaugurated in Assisi in Italy. The event was attended by Minister of Tourism and Antiquities Lina Al-Annab, Jordan's ambassador to Italy Qais Abudaye, and Father Francesco Belloni, the regional head of the Franciscan order in Assisi, along with a large number of dignitaries. Minister Annab stated that the exhibition conveys a human and spiritual message, showcasing Jordan's model of harmony and coexistence and reflecting its identity as a land of peace, love, and humanity. She emphasized the role of the exhibition in promoting religious tourism and introducing visitors to the kingdom's sacred sites. Ambassador Abudaye highlighted the depth of the historical relations between Jordan and Italy, noting that the cultural collaboration strengthens bridges of friendship and understanding between the two people. After the opening, attendees toured the exhibition, which featured around 90 rare artifacts from 34 archaeological sites in Jordan, narrating the early story of Christianity in the land from the baptism site of Jesus to Mount Nebo, Makharis Fortress, Tel Mar Ilyas, and the Church of Our Lady of the Mountain in Anjara. Father Hanna Kildani presided over the Divine Liturgy at the Church of the Virgin Mary of Nazareth in Sofia, with a large gathering of parishioners in attendance. In his homily, Father Kildani reflected on the words of St. Paul, "Let the one who boasts, boast the Lord." He explained that St. Paul revealed the human nature through boasting as a way of one presents oneself to others and the world. Father Kildani pointed out that boasting is part of Arab culture, often expressed through pride in lineage, social status, and life achievements, whether through position, wealth, beauty, or otherwise. However, he emphasized that the greatest pride a person can give is to believe in God, follow the words of Jesus Christ, and strive for the kingdom of heaven. With a message of hope and peace from east to west, the Yanbu Al-Mahabba Choir, Fountain of Love, participated in Italy's Jubilee year, performing 3 official concerts in Milan, Turin, and Florence, including one at the Church of the Holy Cross, one of the most prominent churches in the world. The performances focused on themes of peace, unity, and interfaith dialogue through spiritual hymns in collaboration with the Franciscan Order and the Young Service Movement. The choir presented a rich and diverse program of sacred music inspired by various Christian traditions, transcending differences in language and denominations. Caritas Jordan signed a partnership and cooperation agreement with the Rosary Sisters Hospital in Irbid, aimed at strengthening efforts to provide healthcare services to beneficiaries of Caritas humanitarian programs. The agreement was signed by Mr. Wael Suleiman, Director General of Caritas Jordan, and Sister Alexandra Hattar, Director of the hospital. Under the agreement, Caritas will refer patients to the Rosary Sisters Hospital for healthcare services, including the provision of essential medications, laboratory and diagnosis tests, secondary and specialist care, and surgical interventions when needed. This partnership reflects a joint commitment to expand the healthcare network and reach the most vulnerable groups through greater integration between healthcare institutions and Caritas humanitarian services across the kingdom. The summer camp for Iraqi youth, high school, and adults concluded at the Church of St. George for Malkai Greek Catholics in Fahis, Balkha Governorate. The camp was organized and supported by volunteers from the parish youth, together with Iraqi participants under the patronage of Archimandrite Paul Nuzha, Patriarchal Administrator of the Archparchy of Petra, Philadelphia, and Old Jordan, and with the help of the Sisters of St. Anne and the close follow-up of Father Paul Haddad, parish priest. Father Haddad expressed his joy in hosting this activity in the Fahis parish. The multi-day camp featured spiritual, cultural, and social activities for both children and youth, fostering community, faith, and solidarity among participants. The Ladies' Fellowship of the Church of St. Constantine and Helena in Majd al-Hammam carried out a visit to the city of Fahis, accompanied by Reverend Economist Alexius Qaqish, parish priest. The visit began at St. George Monastery Church, Old Town, where the fellowship was warmly received by Father Michael Haddad, who spoke about the church's history and its pastoral activities. The group was then blessed to venerate the life-giving cross and the relics of St. George preserved in the church. Following this, the fellowship toured the ancient church and the local museum located in the same area. The visit concluded with a pleasant evening at Dar Hamze for Arts and Heritage, where attendees learned about the services and cultural activities offered by the center. UNICEF has issued a warning about the continued armed conflicts in the Middle East, highlighting that millions of children are in need of humanitarian aid in Israel, Palestine, Syria, and Yemen. The organization emphasized that it has been providing support to children and their families in Palestine for 70 years, but its operations are now under threat, with millions of children facing the risk of violence. UNICEF reported that since 2023, at least 40,000 children has been injured or lost limbs. Around 20,000 have been killed. The UN agency called on all parties involved in regional conflicts to end hostilities and to respect international humanitarian law and human rights in order to alleviate the suffering of these children. In a related development, a United Nations delegation visited the Holy Family Parish, affiliated with the Latin Church in Gaza, to check on the community's well-being and assess the current situation. Father Gabriel Romanelli, an Argentine priest and pastor of the parish, said that this was the first visit by the representatives of the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, aiming to collect testimonies regarding the suffering endured by the people of Gaza. The delegation met with the displaced individuals who had fled the horrors of war. It is worth noting that the Latin Church in Gaza has sheltered hundreds of displaced people who sought refuge from the bombardment during the war. And with that, dear viewers, we've come to the end of our broadcast. Before we conclude, here's a recap of the highlights covered herein. Pope Leo XIV let us ask the Virgin Mary to help us become joyful workers in the kingdom of God. After its success in the Vatican, the Dawn of Christianity exhibition opens in the Italian city of Assisi. Priests of Taibe, settlers are tampering with the town's historical and religious heritage. For more information, please visit our website, noursatjo.org. Thank you for watching, wishing you a pleasant day, and until we meet again.